Run through the setup process, how you'd go about creating a simple irrigation schedule, and how to name and change the properties on different fields. So to start with, we're going to sign up. Simply click on our sign up button, and then we're going to be prompted with our screen. And we're going to type in, we'll just use the name Joe Rancher, which I've already put in. Put in the first name, second name, and then we'll add an email address. Okay, so we've simply put that in, and now by sending this out, we're going to be receiving a confirmation of this sign up, and by clicking on that confirmation, we'll be able to go into the application immediately to see the confirmation link that's been sent to us. By clicking on this confirmation link, we will then be sent onto the final page to finish our registration. We'll need to write our username. This will all need to be written as one string of letters, and then we type in our password. The password needs to be at least 4 characters, between 4 to 8 characters in length. It needs to have 1 capital letter and 1 number included for security. Now we create our account, and you see immediately we jump into the irrigation scheduler, and we can follow this wizard it's going to make it very easy to just set it up our system immediately. So we'll say we have 10 fields on this ranch, and then I click next. You see all of a sudden the fields are here named or numbered. We can change that simply by clicking on and call this, say, the north, west, double click, south, west, etc. Also, we know that fields might have a number of sets, maybe 2 sets, in some cases maybe 3, and most will have 1. We can either say, click this check and accept that change, or we can just hit the return button. Either will work. Of course, we can also add fields if we want. If 10 isn't enough, or we want to add later, that's also possible. If we proceed further with the wizard, what we'll come on to is we'll be able to designate all the people that will be working on these fields. So everyone who will need an irrigation schedule some point down the road. In this case, we only have 1 user, Joe Rancher. And we also can assign, so if we have 5 or 10 different individuals that'll be working on different fields, then what we'll do is we'll say take Joe Rancher, and then we'll assign him to the fields where he is going to be working. So we'll assign him to these first 4 fields. And you see, by assigning him to those fields, all of a sudden we also assign him to all of the follow-up scheduling and information that will be coming out for that field. We also have the final step of this wizard, which allows us to designate the day we are going to start this scheduling app. Some people will start on Sunday. Most will probably start on Monday, so we leave that as the default. So by filling in this simple wizard, we already have our farm already designated. We already have the fields with the names we've given them, and we can, in this case, we don't have any equipment yet, but we can sort now by the field, and if there would be equipment, then we'd see a list of the fields. This leftmost button will list the fields and the equipment all in one overview, so we have a view on that. What we can do immediately is we can jump right in and start an irrigation schedule. So we've already set up our fields, and now we can just simply type in the hours that we're going to be going through on these different fields. Type in an additional hour for each day. And then we can click this check, which will then accept changes. Now we can do that, of course, for each one of these fields. It has all of the simple functionality that we expect in a calendar, so we can view by all of these fields, by all the weeks. We can designate historically. We can look back at what was scheduled in the past. Of course, we can irrigate in the future, and then we can jump forward or backwards week by week if we also decide. So all this is all set up already in the system. After we've finished our irrigation schedule, we can do the following. We can save and close this, or we can save and share this. A lot of times once we've created an irrigation schedule and designated people for those fields, we can already send them the data that they'll need. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll save and share. We only have one user for these fields, and we already know that he has an email address that's in the system. So we can say only send him the fields that he's been designated, so my fields, or send a list of all the fields. In this case, we'll just send the fields that he's been designated for. And we press go, and an email has now been sent to him as a PDF. He can view that in his email, or he can actually print that out as well. So just to go into a little bit of the simple functionality regarding properties for these accounts, if we're on the uppermost, say, root directory, or the highest point, clicking on the left, this where you see highlighted in green, we can always go to the right to this management area, this properties area. Here you see there's a tree view. What we can do here is everything is now living in one category, which is Joe Rancher 2. If I click this button right here to the right, I can add another group. So I can call this, say, John, because John is responsible. And then I can simply take these other fields and then just drag them right into the responsibility of John, for instance. And all of a sudden now I've sorted by category, and if I save and close, you'll see here to the left I now have a subcategory of my main category which only has the fields that have been designated for John. And we probably wouldn't use a name here, we'd use a different location, for instance, but in this example I'll just use that. And you see here there's a little blue icon right next to Northwest, and that tells us that there's an irrigation schedule that's been planned for today for that field. There's also some summary data. You see we have one group set up. There's 10 fields, and so far we have no pumps. What we also could do is we click managers. You'll see we can add managers on the other properties, and then those managers will appear here, and we'll know who is assigned to which field. We can of course invite people to this field by sending them an invitation. That's done simply by typing in their first and last name, and then forwarding them also an email, giving them user rights that we designated for them, so what we actually want them to be able to access and use in the system, and then we simply send that off. And then we can send additional invitations out for other people who we want to be able to have access just to view a field, or who we'd want to actually be able to schedule, and so on. Just to give you a quick glance of what this schedule will look like, let's jump to our email and see the final product that's sent to us. Here you see is the schedule that's now been sent to us here. It's in a PDF format, so it can immediately be printed out. If you double click, you'll see it will launch a PDF viewer. Oh. You see here we have all of that can be printed out immediately right from the computer. Nicely laid out. You see it's broken down by the field names, the irrigation sets, and the totals. And that was a quick demonstration of the new Irrigation Manager app from PureSense.